We all already know the saying that your network is your net worth, right? But how do you actually build your network if you're new to a place and you don't know anybody? This is something that I struggled with when I first moved to Miami, and now 3 years in, people are coming to me for advice, and it's crazy. I never had a mentor, and I kind of just had to like learn things on the fly, you know what I'm saying? So these are some of the things that helped me not only get around wealthy people, wise people, and just high-level people that I truly wanted to be around and I found inspiration from. When I moved here, I didn't know anybody that was wealthy or poor or broke or whatever, but I knew that who I spent my time around was either gonna propel my life for the better or it was gonna hold me back. So I was very mindful about what I wanted to do for work, who I was gonna be around. And I wanna make it clear that when you're starting brand new and you don't have a network, no one's gonna really help you, so you have to add value in some way. It usually comes in a form of service, usually through work, right? You have to offer the wealthy people like some sort of service for you to get around them. And then through that, you can network if you're a good person and you're a good worker. That's how you really grow that relationship. So I knew for me, right, that if I wanted to make more money and I wanted to become wealthy myself, I needed to not only surround myself by wealth, but wealthy people in their mindset. So for me, my way in was like luxury hospitality events, which is why I'm actually shooting this event in Design District, because this is primarily where I started working in like designer store boutiques for store openings. I actually want to share a quick story about how I realized I was actually so poor living in Miami. I was working at a private residential house. I was hired by a luxury catering team. They hire models to essentially do the service for their events, stores, private residential business, things like that. So this event was actually for a private residence on the Venetian Island. And if you know the Venetian Island in Miami, very wealthy. It was actually on the water, right? So fast forward, I'm at the event and I was actually really cool with the owner, manager for this event. And he was like, hey, Jared, when guests arrive, you're gonna be on champagne so you can greet them at the door, whatever. So like, let's say like 5-10 minutes before the event starts, I'm at the door and the manager comes over to me and he's like, Jared, what are you doing? Like, but he was more like confused because I'm not one to really fuck up, right? So he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm at the door, like I'm waiting for people to arrive. And like, we just had an awkward moment because people that were arriving to the party were arriving on boats. People were arriving on boats to a house on the Venetian Island, and they had like valet boat services. People were pulling up on their boats, and then they had the like boat valet people, I don't even know what they're called, take their boat and go dock it somewhere. And when they were ready to leave the party, they would bring the boat back so that they could go home. Talk about calling me fucking broke. You know what I'm talking about? Like, here I am at that point in time, I was like 5 months in, maybe into Miami, and I was still shopping at Dollar Tree and Aldi, like penny pinching. And this is one of the first parties where I'm working like at a private mansion, like a private party, and I'm like, oh, this house is OD, right? Like, this house is crazy. That event actually showed me two things. One, that I needed to work harder because there is no way that people live this lifestyle and have fucking valet boat services and I'm shopping at Dollar Tree and Aldi. There's no way I can let that slide. And then second, it showed me that I was at least in the right field for what I wanted to do, right? Because when I was still new here, I didn't know if necessarily I was in the right field or if I needed to pursue something else. Just because, you know, I'm new, I don't know if I'm doing the right things, but being around that level of wealth and knowing that I had a pathway in and an opportunity to kind of expand on that, I took that and ran with it, right? So now working in Miami for 3 years, I've been able to do a lot, you know, behind the scenes. I don't really talk about a lot here on the channel, but the two of my biggest career changes that I feel like for myself in my hospitality space right now is that I was offered the lead hospitality position at Hard Rock Stadium's private F1 membership club. And then I was also given the opportunity and the position to be one of the main butlers. It's called a butler, but you're like the main hospitality lead for private sales galleries in Florida, and I work alongside the Douglas Edelman team. And Douglas Edelman is arguably the #1 brokerage company in Florida, and I work at a few of their new development properties that are like insane. And like, I don't want to go too in detail about it because I don't know if I really can. At one of the properties that I actually work at is the #1 selling new development property in all of Florida history. That's a quick summary of kind of the level of wealth that I'm around. Through doing all of this, I'm still a freelancer. So if I wasn't a good worker, if I was fucking up, right, and I wasn't doing what I needed to do, I would have been fired or I would have been let go. So me being given those opportunities, I'm very mindful of, I'm very fortunate to be in this position because now I can actually build my network and build relationships with the sales director, these agents, the people that run Formula One, people that run the Hard Rock Stadium. Like, now I have a direct contact with them, right? And I'm 3 years into the game, and now I finally feel like I'm able to actually build a solid foundation. I don't want to say this in a bad way, but with people who matter, people that have influence, people that have pull, and that in the industry that I'm in. And I know that this is very specific to my needs, but this is my story, so I'm gonna share it. But I want you to take bits and pieces of what I talk about and then apply it into your life. But let's say you're like a car salesman, right? You could start at like a basic car dealership, Nissan, fucking Hyundai, Honda, whatever. But like, you can then work your way up to Porsche, Range Rover, BMW. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's always levels to this shit, no matter what industry you're in. And then I would always make it clear that you always want to hang around the #1 salesperson in your field, in your industry, at your company, and learn from literally anybody that is doing better than you. What I realized is that when you have a humble approach and you're genuine, people want to naturally help you, right? Especially if they're older than you and they have more experience in the game, they want to share with you because that's advice that they wish that they could share with themselves. I'm now in a position where like I can ask the #1 real estate agents, arguably in Florida, any advice for real estate and like the tax advantages and things like that. And like I greatly value that. And even though maybe I'm working a job that I don't see myself in forever, the knowledge that I'm getting on a face-to-face basis, to me, is priceless. And I also want to add that being around that level of personnel really gives you a different life perspective on how people at that caliber operate, right? How do they articulate themselves with clients? What are their sales pitches? Like, I'm very fortunate to be in these meetings where they're selling multi-million-dollar apartments, condos, and like that's not conversations I'm ever gonna hear anywhere else. And I just sit there and I just learn and like what works, what doesn't work, what are the client's needs, right? And you just realize that listening really solves more than half of your problems, really. If you just listen to the client, you really can come up with a solution no matter what the case may be. And when you're just around this level of wealth, you make so much more money just because like they got it. But I still could learn more. I still am trying to learn more. Because if you're in a position like me, I didn't have a mentor. You know, I don't have a mentor now. I'm just kind of, like I said before, I'm balling as I go. And this is truly advice that has helped me. And I would be very mindful about just facilitating yourself around the people that you want to be like in the fields that you want to see yourself in. And again, add value to all of that. This is my personal experience, but truly I hope that you can take bits and pieces. This is advice I wish I could give my younger self. You know what I'm saying? And when I read some of the comments of like, Jared, like I'm applying to these jobs and maybe I'm not getting them. And it's like, I feel that because when I first moved out here and I was applying for jobs and I didn't know what to do, like I was getting dubbed left and right. And like you just have to make it happen. You have to stay persistent, standing out, being unique, do your research, and just showing up and just being a fucking professional. Just be the best at what you do. Take pride in it. Like the work that I do now, I'm gonna be so honest, this is not a forever thing. You know what I'm saying? And maybe I could share a little bit more in a separate video about what I do, but I know that this is a way for me to make my money now, and it pays good. You know, I live in Miami, self-sufficient, you know what I'm saying? But there's more to life. Getting too active over here. Let's go over here. That was the talking point for today's video. And again, your environment is everything. Your influence is everything. Who you hang around is what you're gonna become. So like I said, be very mindful about how you spend your time. Kept the promise to myself, kept the promise to y'all that I'm gonna keep, you know, doing these YouTube videos and staying consistent. So if I don't have anything to talk about, I'm gonna just talk about advice that I know has helped me along the way. Damn, like look at this, man. Change your environment, change your life perspective, go out there, learn something new, be the best version of yourself, and just be a hard worker, stay persistent, you know, go through all the obstacles, embrace the journey. I'm on my journey right now. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. And y'all know the deal. Till next time, I'll catch y'all later.